Hello, it's Andy Savva here. I hope you're all well and safe and are enjoying being part of the automotive support group. I really want to share my views on how best you can manage your time in business. And right now, we should all have a lot more time on our hands as we deal with the lockdown and the crisis at hand. However, I suspect that that's not how it's always been. And running a garage business is very complex. However, by focusing on my time management, it enabled me to run my businesses in a far more efficient and effective manner. We are often overwhelmed by the choices and the pressures of today's world. Many people feel that their life is out of control. They are constantly pushed and pulled in so many directions by so many different forces. They are frustrated and don't know how to regain control of their time and their personal life. In the ever-changing and challenging pace of our world, especially in the automotive sector, the demands placed on all of us continue to grow. So is there anything that we can do to reduce these demands and manage our time more effectively? And I believe there is. Now, too often, success is often seen in material possessions or financial gain. It is easy to fall into the trap of working long hours, striving to achieve a good standard of living, building a successful garage business, but in the process, neglecting relationships, self-development, our leisure activities, and of course, our own personal happiness. Now, time is your greatest ally, but also your greatest enemy. It is a vital resource that you can never get enough of. Like everyone else in the world, in the garage businesses, you get 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Yet some of us always seem to be pressed for time, working through lunch and not getting home till 7, 8, 9 in the evening, 6 days a week. And I know I lived it in my mid-career whilst running my garages from sort of 94 to 2005. Now, the ability to manage your time is often what separates the good operators from the poor ones. And after all, if we can't organise ourselves, how can we be trusted to organise our people in our teams? Now, I believe few of us manage time as well as we could. We allow ourselves to get distracted. We take on more work that we know we can't really do. We are just too available to people, and they want us to work over problems they should really be thinking through for themselves, and so on. Now, whilst I was studying for my automotive retail management degree at Loughborough University, I was very lucky enough to be offered the chance to expand my knowledge and education at the Nissan manufacturing plant in Sunderland. Now, it's renowned to be one of the most efficient plants in Europe, if not the world. And it was to go there to learn about a Japanese methodology called Lean and Kaizen. Now, many of you will have probably heard me talk about it, write about the subject, and how I implemented many of the learnings back then successfully into Brunswick Garage from around 2009-10 to 2016 before I sold it. Now, I continue to study the subject in great detail as it remains a passion of mine, and I just can't get enough of this methodology. Now, one of the most valuable lessons I learned straight away, very quickly, was the influence Kaizen had on managing time efficiently and effectively in business. Now, the Japanese, they believe that time is the greatest commodity there is, and who would argue against their theory? Now, every second, every minute, every hour counts in vehicle manufacturing, but also in our garages, because that's what we sell. Now, the Japanese also believe that there are 4 specific managerial types. There's operational timing, when you're trying to run the garage from the workshop floor. There's strategic time, which is planning for the future. There's innovative time, which is you're seeking for new approaches and systems. And there's Kaizen time, which is making ongoing small continuous improvements. Now, you will probably find that you spend a significant amount of your time on operational issues, trying to run the reception and workshop as I did in my early career. This cannot continue if you want to build a truly successful garage, as you need to increase your creativity time. You have to identify the operational activities that could reduce in order to allow you to do this. For example, you could delegate more of your work. The Japanese believe that senior managers should only spend more than about 25% of their time on operational issues. The rest of their time should be spread across the other three categories. Now, it's obvious the more time you spend on operational issues, like trying to do everything for everyone and everything for everyone, you'll have less time spent working creatively, and this will reflect in poor time management planning. Now remember, the only way to manage time successfully is to set yourself realistic schedules and stick to them. The way I spent my sort of time determined my overall performance, and this in turn had a massive effect, or a positive effect, on my team. Look how you currently spend your time, highlight areas where you could improve. And by keeping a diary of what you do during a typical week will allow you to look back and reflect on what you have been up to. And again, one of the early lessons I learned is if you don't measure anything, you cannot manage it. The key to success at work is knowing the difference between what is important and what is urgent. And what I see often is important is too often squeezed out by the pressure of urgent but less vital matters. You need to reallocate your time to important issues. Ask yourself, is this the most useful thing I could be doing right now? Focus on tasks that are important to you and you will be in a far better place. You also need to establish some core values and focus on them to motivate you. Ask yourself what is important about your work and your garage businesses. Now, there's common motivating values that, delivering customer satisfaction, career success, recognition, helping others, and of course the financial rewards. Now, common myth is that the results you achieve are directly related to how hard you work. However, more often, greater effort does not always equal greater effectiveness and increased business performance. Take workshop performance. All the techs seem to be working very hard, only to find ourselves that we only sell half the hours we have available. Now, this is an area I'm extremely passionate and knowledgeable about. And in fact, I can speak all day about what measures can be implemented to improve the ability for you to sell more hours, or time as I call it. It would also be helpful to know when to switch off. And this is vitally important because it will keep you motivated and energized. Otherwise, you will feel like your head is buried in the sand all the time. And this increases your stress levels, which we don't really want. You need to monitor and review your time at work and make sure you are working efficiently. Now, I broke down my tasks into little manageable sizes and scheduled them accordingly. And I used the daily sheet to identify my key priorities, my meetings, deadlines, etc. For example, one of the things I used to do, if someone wanted to come and see me for a meeting, I would try and avoid times of between 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and about 4 to 6 p.m. as these were the busiest times in my business and probably in your garage businesses too. I also encouraged and empowered and delegated my team to make their own decisions rather than referring every issue to me. I employed them, so I needed to trust them. There is not enough time to deal with all the issues in the day-to-day running of a garage. It's impossible. Now, being effective in business doesn't always have to mean being continually busy. If you're running around all day, you'll have no time to think. You've got to go to work on your business rather than in it. Dedicating enough quality time to thinking about the important issues of my business and my people made my time more effective. However, there is a big difference between being able to do something and being good at doing something. The better you are able to identify your talents, your individual talents and your abilities, the more likely you are to succeed. We can't do it all. Each of us can do some things better than others, and they in turn can do some things better than us. Therefore, it is to your advantage to figure out what you do best and work to those strengths. Trust me when I tell you, the more you begin to create time, the happier and the more successful you will be. This approach helped me achieve great, fantastic results at Brunswick Garage. And I owe everything to my amazing team who got on with their jobs so efficiently, happily, and effectively. And I certainly couldn't have done it without them. Please remember one final thing. The relaxation of calmness only follows when your work has been done. Now, I wish you all health, happiness, and success. I want to personally say thanks to James Dillon, whose idea it was to create this support group, but also to the rest of the admin team, Tom Denton, Dave Massey, and Andy Crook, whose contribution's been absolutely incredible. I want to thank you for watching. Your feedback will be much appreciated. All the best. Thank you very much.